Welcome from wherever you are in the world to the fifth interview in our February Biohacking series, where we have been talking to a range of experts on why it is important to activate the genetic pathways within our body for optimal health and well-being. I am Susan Young, and I have the privilege of talking to an incredible scientist today, Dr. Rachel Cameron. So Dr. Rachel Cameron holds a Bachelor of Science with honours in pathology from the University of Sydney. She also holds a PhD in medicine from both the University of Sydney and Stanford University in the USA. She has worked in drug discovery, manufacturing of medicines, the sales and marketing of medicines, and held the role of national sales trainer for a team of representatives selling complex medicines. She has lectured at numerous universities, including Sydney, Melbourne, Monash, and the Southern School of Natural Therapies, where she taught naturopaths, myotherapists, and traditional Chinese medical students on the aspects of research, design, and practice related to complementary medicines. Dr. Rachel is currently a medical consultant that advises the industry on how to register and sell new products and treatments. And what I'm really excited about is her passion for prevention and supporting the body to repair and heal itself naturally. She has a special interest in cancer prevention and support of families and patients with cancer.
Shit. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Go.
So welcome, Dr. Rachel Cameron. We are very excited to have you on here today. May I call you Rachel?
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
May I call you Rachel?
Of course, Susan, you can call me Rachel.
So Rachel, this means that you have been teaching people about disease. Well, you've actually studied disease and have been teaching people about disease for over 30 years. So as a scientist of your expertise, can you tell us why, well, tell us a little bit about the NRF1 and NRF2 pathways in the body and why it is important to activate them.
Sure, Susan. So these two pathways are important to your cells for two different reasons. So the NRF1 pathway is the mitochondria within your cells, which is like your car engine, and it produces energy or fuel to run the cell in the form of ATP. When ATP is produced by the cell, it produces free radicals, also known as garbage, from running the engine, which can damage the cell and the cell structures if not taken away. And secondly, the NRF2 pathway turns on the survival genes, which makes the cell produce hundreds of antioxidants and other protective proteins, which mop up the free radicals, also called exhaust or garbage, so disposing of the waste and heat in your system. An analogy would be that the NRF2 mitochondria pathway is like the cell's engine, and the NRF2 pathway produces a tune-up or removes the exhaust, a little bit like what the muffler does. You know, it throws out the rubbish out the back of the car. So if you don't have enough cellular energy, you may feel tired and stressed. And if you have too many free radicals in your body, you get cellular damage, and eventually you end up with disease and you age faster.
Wow.
So simply put, these two pathways are like the holy grail of the first thing I learned in biochemistry. You need cells to make energy, and then the byproducts, free radicals, need to be taken away out fast or problems arise for the cells in our body.
Wow, that's a brilliant explanation of why we need to get activated and what the pathways do, and I'm certainly pleased that I am. But can you tell us why we need protandem for the NRF1 and 2 pathways?
Sure. So based on some clever science, it was discovered that these two pathways could be turned on, off, or up, okay? So we do know that in our early 20s, the NRF2 pathway gets turned down. And it's thought that this occurs due to the aging process and also exposure to chemicals, radiation, toxicity, and our environment. Now, I might just share a slide here now to sort of give an overview of that for you. Can you see that slide?
Yep, we can see it.
So there's many things in our environment that cause this turning down of the NRF2 pathway.
So what I'm hearing you say is there's a lot of evidence-based science that says Protandim really works to activate these pathways.
Yes, so I might just go to the next slide here, Susan. So a lot of people actually say they eat well, and yes, so do I, but our body's actually designed to have a stronger, more effective way of dealing with the waste or the fire burning in the cell. The fire hose in the form of NRF2, which basically puts out the fire in the cells. Rather than a drip, we use, when you eat antioxidants, instead we produce a massive fire hose to neutralise the free radicals, which is far more effective and strong. So it actually was discovered that certain foods and botanicals contain NRF1 and 2 activators, and over more than 20 years of research was done by our company and discovered that low concentrations of certain botanicals contain NRF2 activators. And this was compared to over 2,000 combinations that were tested. So like the perfect key for the lock in the cell, which gives the perfect amount of activation of these pathways to turn them back on or up to normal, which is very exciting. So there's no point trying to eat or make this combination yourself, as the scientific research has shown that the exact concentration is what is important for the NRF2 activation. So this formulation was first discovered and described by Sally Nelson and her team in healthy adults. And a study was done in healthy adults between 20 and 80 years of age. And it was shown that in all ages, after taking Protandim NRF2 for 30 days, everyone's marker of oxidative stress and production of endogenous antioxidants were returned to normal levels compared to placebo, which was highly statistically significant. So when I saw these results myself, I was very keen to try this product for myself. So I've been taking Protandim NRF2 for over a year now.
Well, during your career, you must have had a lot of companies wanting you to endorse their products. So what was it about LifeVantage and Protandim that was different enough to encourage you to take a look and do your research?
Yes, well, I've been working in complementary medicines, as I said, and also pharmaceutical medicines for over 20 years. And actually, as a 20-year-old, when I started learning about biochemistry, I understood that I should supplement my diet, because while I have been eating healthily for decades, there are environmental challenges that make it hard for our fantastic livers and cells to adequately detoxify. So, however, I've not endorsed any products specifically that I would take myself every day for decades. And I was actually introduced to Protandim NRF2 as my good friend had been unwell with psoriasis and autoimmune arthritis for more than 13 years. And I'd seen her disease for myself. And she asked me to look at the science of Protandim NRF2, as she didn't understand the science because she's not a scientist. So I jumped onto PubMed, where all the scientists and clinicians go to see the evidence. And I saw the Nelson paper and 23 other papers. And I could see that only 3 actually were published by LifeVantage, the company that makes Protandim NRF2, our company, and the rest were independent third parties, such as the American Heart Association, Harvard, and the NIH Institutes of Aging, which convinced me, as I understood these peer-reviewed publications and their design and importance.
Wow, so in your experience, have you seen any other natural supplements with this type of science behind them?
No, it's not common for natural products or complementary medicines to do this level of scientific research. And I think it talks to the fact that that protandim NRF2 in particular, the pathway is of particular interest because it is linked to over 260 diseases and also aging. So there's a lot of research and interest. So you can see some of the organisations here that are researching the NRF2 pathway and have published on it. And so it's very, very unusual for a complementary medicine or botanical product like this to actually have so much interest, and that's because it potentially was described by Washington State University as potentially the biggest breakthrough in preventative and therapeutic medicine, which is such a big thing. So that's why there's so much interest in this pathway.
Yeah, that's an incredible statement, isn't it? So from your point of view, Rachel, do you feel that activating these pathways is an important part of supporting the body to repair and heal itself?
Absolutely. Yes, we're all having difficulty detoxifying and managing our very stressful environments and lives. So most people do not have or do not get adequate activation of the NRF1 and NRF2 pathways. So most people are actually literally running on empty. They're tired, stressed, and sick. Yeah. So I've seen way too many of my families. So my grandfather died of prostate cancer. My cousin died of a brain tumour 38. My dad's had bowel cancer. My PhD supervisor got leukemia. My hairdresser died of stomach cancer 38. Boss 41, breast cancer. And multiple friends and colleagues have died from cancer and other diseases, you know, way too young. And this is really, in my opinion, a reflection of our environment being more toxic and hard for the body to cope with than ever before. So, you know, we've got to be proactive about this.
So what we're actually talking about most of all here then is prevention. It's prevention that's the key to get ahead of getting to the point where you do have some of those conditions or issues.
Yeah. Yeah. So the more we can protect ourselves with detoxing our environment, our diet and body, the more we are actually able to cope with stress and the demands of our current modern lives. And that's why I take Protandim NRF2 every day, as do most of my friends, family, my dog, pretty much everybody I can tell or share this information about. I think it can benefit because our bodies are amazing. It's been designed to look after itself, but you actually have to give it the tools or the keys to actually sort that out.
Wow, so it looks like we have some important keys here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I know that there's going to be a few people wanting to ask some questions. So we're going to go to a 15-minute Q&A. Are you happy to stay and answer our questions, Rachel?
Absolutely. I'll stop sharing this slide now. So we'll go back to the video. So.